Here is a comparison between the 2025 Mini Countryman S in British Racing Green versus the BMW X1 xDrive28i in Blue Bay Lagoon. Which one is going to be better? It's about $5,000 to $10,000 differences spec to spec, receiving the same B48 engine, the same clearance, the same platform. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. In the front, you're going to see a little bit different because the Mini is actually lifted up a little bit more so. It's going to be more of a box structure, full LED for the front. The grille is going to get the gloss black inserts, and the lower gets a touch of the bronze with front and rear parking sensors and a 360-degree reverse camera. And when you go into the BMW X1, a little bit more dynamic and sleek. It's going to be sitting lower, so therefore giving that sport profile. Full LED for the front, an active kidney grille shutter. Satin aluminum is going to highlight the lower, also receiving the front and rear parking sensors with a 360-degree reverse camera. Now you have to tick the box for the convenience package, which will add over $4,000, but it's going to add some more packages to the X1. But what's housed underneath both of these refresh vehicles is the B48, which is a 2.0 liter twin power turbocharged, producing 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque paired to a 7-speed DCT automatic transmission. The BMW will achieve 25 mpgs for the city, 34 mpgs for the highway, whereas the Mini drops it to 24 mpgs for the city, 32 mpgs for the highway. Both are standard with their all-wheel drive system. 6.2 seconds is going to be the 0 to 60 on both, with the top speed at 130 to 149 miles per hour. The BMW, we have upgraded 19-inch wheels, and I think it looks good against this paint palette. But when you start ticking the box for a lot of the features, you may want to consider the M35i, because now we're at a base price for that variant, which you would get these upgraded wheels and you would have 312 horsepower underneath the hood. And now the Mini, we have the favored style. That's going to give us these 18-inch wheels. We have the iconic trim. That's a $4,000-ish upgrade, but you're still seeing savings when you go here, towing up to 3,500 pounds. And I like the bronze wheels that mimic the side skirt because it looks a lot more sporty with the two-tone. You're getting the gloss black for the roof and the roof rails with the all-4 badging now on the rear window, where before we used to have a scuttle. We no longer receive that here on the sides, keeping it a lot more sleek for the new design. In the rear, you can see they more or less have done the same configuration, except on the BMW, it actually sits upwards a little bit more so, where this sits downwards a little bit. Both will be standard with LED taillights, and the lower is going to get the bronze insert, where we're going to get the satin aluminum for the BMW, and that's going to have the boomerang effect on the side, so it keeps that traditional sporty styling. But then it takes me back to the question. This is under 40 grand MSRP. That is going to be over 40 grand MSRP. You're getting the same performance, just the styling is going to be a little bit different. The interior is also going to be a little bit more unique. Which one would you option? Drop a comment and leave a like. It does help with the algorithm, so we can bring more vehicles like this in comparison reviews to the channel. Both are going to have power lift gates. Going into 25.7 cubic feet of storage. It's going to sit up a little bit, and this also comes up here so nothing can kind of roll out. Underneath the floor opens up to a large storage pocket. You have a little storage nook with a 12-volt charger, LED interior lights, and to split fold the rear bench, you have to go inside in order to maximize the cargo to the 46.9 cubic feet. And this will fold out at a 40-20-40 split, in which it will go more or less all the way down flat. Going into 25.7 cubic feet of storage. You'll have a storage with a net and a little storage nook with a 12-volt charger, LED interior lights. Underneath the floor gets a spare tire. But to split fold the rear bench, you will still have to go inside to get the 46.9 cubic feet of storage. You'll pull the levers here. It's going to drop down at a 40-20-40 split to maximize the cargo capacity. The favored trim gets these JCW seats, 12-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 8-way power seat adjustment for the passenger, memory seats for the driver, heated front seats. 8-way power seat adjustment for the front, sports seats, these are an upgrade, heated seats as part of the convenience package, manual cushion extensions, memory for the driver. The Mini Cooper is now a complete box, so headroom and legroom. It's going to have a ton of space in the interior. It's not a driver-focused setup. You have a 9.4 OLED touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Here's the quick wedges. Click back here so you could go into Amazon Alexa, put it into reverse. The convenience package adds the 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. You also have the 3D view so you can go all around the vehicle. This also adds the navigation and the wireless charging pad. Toggle switches and to push it into park. This will just engage the vehicle and to turn on and off the sound system. Everything else is derived 100% through the infotainment. So for the climate control, you'll just click onto it. It is very sensitive, so I do like that. Digital key for the Mini. And you get a storage box that opens up to the key fob for the new Mini Countryman. More storage with USB ports and a 12-volt tucked back here. This is going to be soft to touch. It does slide forward. It does not open, so you have plenty of space for an elbow or actual armrest. With a large panel moonroof, the iconic trim adds this interior camera. The dashboard is going to have cloth inserts, and you also have a pattern on the front part, Harman Kardon upgraded sound system, and the steering wheel is going to be a lot more dynamic. I like the steering wheel sit to it. You also have the seat belt look here, multi-functionality. Unfortunately, there isn't any gauge cluster, so you have to use everything through the center screen. And the air vents will get the bronze that's going to surround it. Door panel, dash going together, and that pattern changes the configuration so it looks a lot more sporty. One touch up and down for all the windows, and it's going to keep that sporty feel with a long storage pocket. The X1 is a little box, but inside it has a ton of room, especially for the front occupants. It is a driver-focused setup. A 10.7 center infotainment screen, so you're not going to have the big 14.9. This does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio, xDrive28i. Put it into reverse. Because we have the convenience package, you have a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. When you click onto the more, you have the 3D view, which you can just simply push on all the icons here. And you also have the car wash, which will show the trajectory for the front because we also have the upgraded wheels. Wireless charging pad is also part of that premium package. We have the upgraded heated seats and heated steering wheel. The convenience package also adds the auto-dimming rear view mirror, the interior camera, the long panel moonroof with the heads-up display, upgraded Harman Kardon sound system, and BMW's digital key. On the gauge cluster, 10.25 informational display that can go through an array of content for the driver, and you can also change the whole design layout to make it a little bit more sporty or to make it a little bit more open. And the same thing with the heads-up display, standard, assist view, sport view, USB ports, and an area here that is more or less opened up like a pass-through, the key fob for the new X1. These are touch sensitive, so when you push My Mode, you'll have your driving mode select and you can engage in different experiences as well. The rocker to put it into gear, push here, and it's going to be a little bit smaller. I would say maybe you can fit a remote control because a small cell phone will not fit. But optimizing the pass-through does help. It does make it a little bit tough for the passenger because there is a little stop right there. The steering wheel is 3-spoke. I like the new design to it because it's a lot more sporty than the prior. Dashboard and door panel configure in together, and it's going to be soft to touch more or less everywhere. One touch up and down for the windows with a long storage pocket. For the back seats, the Mini has a ton of space. Leg space isn't so bad. You get some storage behind both of the front seats, USB ports, air vents, cup holders with armrests, and I like the pattern that comes into the back because they just really pay attention to detail, full stop. The door is going to have the same materials that's found in the front, so it's going to be more everyday with a long storage pocket. It's basically the same size storage. Sliding into the center, you will share some feet space but not a ton. The same thing with leg and butt space. Shoulder space isn't too bad. Headroom is actually doable, and it's the same exact rear as the BMW. For the back seats, this is the way the actual seat will sit. You can recline it back, and I would say right here is going to be the most comfortable area for it. Headroom, leg room, not an issue. A storage net behind both of the front seats. 2 air vents with USB ports and kind of a little storage compartment, cup holders with an armrest, and the door is going to have more or less the same segment, except the top is going to be stripped of the Sensitech. It's going to be soft to touch where it needs to be, with a long storage pocket and a beverage holder carved out. Sliding into the center, the floor is not completely flat. You will be sharing some feet space, but surprisingly, because of the width of this vehicle, they do a pretty good job carving out space. And the same thing for headroom. It actually works for somebody at 6'3" my dimensions. The Mini Countryman S. It's gonna feel a little bit more dynamic, but you're expecting a rigid ride for the suspension. But because you're sitting up so much higher, it's longer, it's wider. It takes a little bit away from the style of Mini, but I like that they have made it a little bit bigger too, because this is one of their big sellers for North America, so it only makes sense to do so. But then, what's the point of the BMW X1? Because you're getting the same powertrain, you're getting the same platform. The interior, the major difference really is if you want a plain, simplified interior, or do you want it to be a little bit more sophisticated with technology for the BMW side. Here, I like that they have implemented the 9.4 OLED touchscreen, and now it covers the whole screen, which was a big problem that I always had with the Mini Cooper to begin with. But then not giving us a gauge cluster, I'm not saying it's boring, I just don't like not having a gauge cluster. I think it's a cool idea to test the two vehicles this way so you can see which way the market goes. But the JCW seats, they're gonna be the same as the performance seats. The only difference is you don't have to pay for an upgrade to get them here. You just go by the trim choice. Now, going into the iconic trim, that is going to add a few $1,000s of an upgrade, but it does add some features as well. And you're still getting a huge savings. It's gonna lead me to some pros and cons, and starting off with the cons, because we've said a lot of pros. The interior, I'm not a huge fan of this cloth that's throughout. I'm all right with the color because it will get marks all over it as you own the vehicle. And it's going to be harder to clean because as you clean it, it's going to start coming out kind of like a rug. I like the steering wheel though. It feels very dynamic, a little bit more so than the X. I like the toggle switches and how much more airy it feels inside here. Plus you have a little bit more storage nooks, but then it's a little bit smaller in the storage pocket for the doors. I dislike having one screen in the vehicle in that this is the same powertrain as the X1. I kind of wish that they would have distinguish the two because it would make it a little bit more easier for me to choose which one to buy if I was looking at a smaller SUV. I do not like that in North America they do not option the paddle shifts. You can only get that on the JCW. I like the experience mode because it has a little charm to it whenever you're changing into the go-kart mode, which is basically a sport mode for the vehicle, which will make you go at a higher RPM and you'll feel a little bit less lag with this twin-scroll turbocharged engine, which for the most part, it does a good job getting in and out of maneuvers. Plus, you can take some bends on the road. It's not going to be as fun as a Mini Cooper two-door because that's going to be a little bit more so on the wheel well for the front. So the go-kart feel is not going to be there. It's going to be more like an SUV drive, but taking some bends on the road so you can see. Just kind of slides a little bit. But does it have the Mini fun? Gets up to speed pretty quick. 6.2 seconds is pretty fast, and the JCW drops it to 5.2 seconds, which is the same thing as the M35i. It's not gonna hug the road. The exhaust note will filter in, the exit. It feels just as solid as the X1, which to me is a compliment to the Mini because you're getting the same components and a discount. And now the X1 xDrive28i. Is it just as good as the Mini Countryman S? You're getting the same performance underneath the hood, the same B48 engine. Dynamics is right at the same. It's the same platform, standard all-wheel drive on both, and check out some of the bends on the road. Doesn't feel too bad. It's not going to be as airtight as a M Sport variant, but I'm not expecting that at this trim level. It gets up to speed quick when you're in sport mode. It will have a touch of lag otherwise. And the exit. It's still playful. If you are somebody that's into BMWs and you've driven some of their M variants or even their M Sport, you're not going to feel it as much with this, dynamically speaking, but it's still playful. So I like that they have captured that, especially at the price point, because when you're thinking base to base, you're a few $1,000 difference. You're getting the same performance. Should you option up to the BMW instead of going Mini Cooper? Now this one is a little bit of a different spec because this is actually at a base MSRP of an M35i, but it's not going to do anything to the performance. That's really a whole bunch of aesthetics and upgrades in the interior that we've went over. So at that point, I would suggest that if you're looking to option it up, maybe go into the Mini side, because once you get up to a $50,000 price, there's no point to not look at the M35i because you're getting over 70 horsepower more than both variants at these trim levels. Now, if you go into the JCW, it's the same exact powertrain, so you will yet again see a savings, which brings the question again. Should you go Mini or BMW? Is it two different lifestyles? Kind of is, but I like both of them. I don't think you could go wrong with either choice because they are more or less the same exact vehicle. I mean, it really just boils down to, do you want a Mini or do you want a BMW? Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I like to thank Mini and BMW for giving us the chance to compare these two vehicles for our comparison review.